question. The question is that the address be agreed to, and before I call the member for Lindsay, I would remind the House that this is the honourable member's first and maiden speech, and I ask the House to extend to her the usual courtesies. I call, with pleasure, the member for Lindsay.
Thank you. It is with much pride and humility that I speak for the first time in this place as the member for Lindsay. To the people who have elected me as their representative in this most esteemed of institutions, I say thank you. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for the belief you have shown in me. And most importantly, thank you for the opportunity to be your voice in the next chapter of our great nation. To you, Madam Speaker, I congratulate you on your appointment as Speaker of this House. I take this opportunity to thank you for the pathway you have created. Yesterday you spoke to only represent yourself as the best individual for any job. I agree with your sentiment, and I believe people should always be selected on merit. But, Madam Speaker, your journey has broken many a glass ceiling, and I believe it is important to also recognise your achievement as being the first elected female senator for New South Wales. You set an extraordinary benchmark for others to follow, and I'm proud to say I stand here today a product of your legacy. You are a pioneer of Australian politics and have always been a good friend to the people of Western Sydney. My family history can be traced back to Hannah Stanley, another pioneer. Born in 1788, Hannah, a mere servant, came to Australia a convict at only 22. Her crime was to steal a goose feather bed, sheets, blankets, 7 pairs of cotton stockings, a couple of dresses, 4 petticoats and 6 handkerchiefs.
She was a goer.
Fortunately for me, her death sentence was commuted, and in 1810 she arrived in Botany Bay. The very same year, Lachlan Macquarie was appointed Governor of New South Wales. I say fortunately, as Hannah and her husband, Daniel Clark, were granted 30 acres of land on the western bank of South Creek, a place we now know as Landilo. For me, proudly within the Lindsay electorate. Hannah and Daniel were like so many other farmers of that time. They grew the crops that fed and ultimately saved the early settlement. This resourceful, courageous and resilient spirit I identify in my early ancestors continues to be the beating heart of the people of Lindsay to this day, and is the spirit of the totem turtle that the local Durag people identify as the spirit guide of these lands. For Lindsay is freshwater country within the Durag Nation, resting on a sweeping woodland plain where a blazing western sun retires behind a sapphire-misted mountain. Historically, they have been both friend and foe, testing our resolve in times of flood and fire. These challenges strengthen us as a community, forging the unique character which is the people of the Nepean Valley. Our river is a gateway where the mountains meet the plains and where the country meets the city, where Aboriginal people traded, where Governor Macquarie established the first food bowl for the early colony. And to this day, it is our freshwater river that sustains the 3.7 million people of Sydney and the Blue Mountains. We are a proud and industrious people with a rich history that I am privileged to be intrinsically entwined. And in the words of our Prime Minister, I too believe there is no limit to what Australians can achieve. In 1936, my grandparents, Jim and Doreen, opened their service station on High Street, Penrith. It was a one-stop shop and serviced all the automotive needs of the community, and in turn became a part of it. From selling the car new, servicing it through its life, to towing it when it would break down. Eventually, the business was passed on to my father and my uncle Dennis, but my grandparents always kept a firm hand on the reins, and they lived above the shop. My brothers and I would spend our school holidays there, at my grandparents' place, above the shop. Like so many family businesses, it was all hands on deck, and we would all pitch in to do our part. We were taught at an early age about the dignity of work and the importance of participation. Threats of banana publics, hyper interest rates, the recession we had to have, all took its toll on family businesses and for small businesses everywhere. My dad would often opt to pay the staff before he'd pay himself, and would work well into the night to ensure he was able to support and provide for our family. It is these personal experiences where I have gained an appreciation for the true value of small business. My dad tells a funny story about my grandfather. He sold 15 brands of fuel from 15 different fuel bowsers, yet they all came out of the same underground tank. But for me, Winston Churchill sums it up as best Churchill can. Some see private enterprise as a predatory tiger to be shot, others as a cow to be milked, but few are those who see it a sturdy horse pulling the wagon. The previous government burdened small business with 21,000 new regulations. Their fiscal mismanagement and reckless spending destroyed business confidence, pushing up the cost to do business, guaranteeing to lame even the most noble of sturdy steeds. Small business is the engine room of the economy. In the private sector, it employs 1 in 2 people. It is my belief a strong, innovative small business sector is key to ensuring the wealth of this nation. The irresponsible fiscal reforms of the 33rd Parliament did so with an utter disregard to the Australian businesses and families alike. We will re-energise the economy and restore business and consumer confidence. This morning, the 44th Parliament introduced legislation to repeal the carbon tax, essential for working families throughout Lindsay who feel and need relief to their household budgets. Madam Speaker, I hope the people's mandate is honoured in this Parliament. Together, we can remove the handbrake that has been placed on our great nation, and in doing so, reduce the cost to do business, encourage investment, create employment, build productivity, restore our international competitiveness, and therefore secure a prosperous economy for a stronger Australia. In 1959, my mum's baby brother John was tragically killed on an army base in Darwin. Being so far from home, the local Aboriginal people supported the young family, leading them through the mourning process. The tribesmen embraced my grandfather Les, holding a corroboree to release little John's spirit. I am told my pop was the first white fella this clan had ever included in such a symbolic way. This had a huge impact on the life of my grandparents, Les and Nola, my uncle Gary, and in particular, my mother Robin, a debt my mum feels towards the Aboriginal people to this day. My mum's legacy to my brothers and I was to ensure that we felt and respected this connection. She ensured we were raised with an acute appreciation of our nation's Aboriginal heritage. And we were sent to Castlereagh Hall with 77 other children. Our principal, Bill Oates, an Aboriginal man, further built on this link by sharing the Aboriginal dreaming side by side with the Christian theology. It was only over the past few years I have appreciated the significance of this, and that he has not been a standard of education afforded to other young Australians. As such, I fully support the proposed constitutional change to recognise Aboriginal people. I also believe every parent should have the right to choose their children's education, and schools should have more autonomy in decision-making that will best suit their school and their community. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and if it is true, my pop's video of movie camera of Warragamba Dam would fill a library. McCann's Island near Emu Heights was the starting point for a major extractive operation which saw in excess of 2.5 million tonnes of gravel extracted from the Nepean River and delivered to the Warragamba Dam construction site. A Flying Fox aerial line was established consisting of 600 open-aired buckets at 30-second intervals, operating 24/7, from June 1953 until the dam was opened in 1960. My pop, Jim Scott, a larger-than-life character, on a whim jumped into one of these buckets, hitching a ride on the ropeway. He filmed the journey from Emu Heights to the dam wall and back again. The legacy of his exuberance remains to this day and is held in trust by the Nepean District Historical Society. For over half a century, the dam has been the protector of the Nepean Valley and its people. It is widely recognised as one of the world's largest domestic and most efficient water supplies. Alongside the Snow River Mountain Scheme and the Sydney Harbour Bridge, it stands as a testament to the ingenuity and vision of Australians. Time and again has proven to be the cornerstone of our national growth. I firmly believe we in this place must lead our communities and provide real solutions in planning future infrastructure for Lindsay, the Greater Western Sydney region and the people of Australia. We are a proud people. We choose to make sacrifices if it means providing a better future for our families. We aspire to a lifestyle of choice and freedom and will resent those who attempt to take these things from us. We demand a federal government to believe in us as we believe in ourselves. Unfortunately, successive governments have failed the people of Western Sydney, and every day 2/3 of the Lindsay workforce are forced to leave the region for employment. Sadly, their return trip sees them arriving home with the sun setting, or worse still, their children already tucked up in bed. Furthermore, over the next 20 years, it is projected an additional 500,000 people will make Western Sydney their home. Our challenges are to meet this existing demand and also meet the needs of future generations. We must encourage investment that creates local jobs and provide the vital services and infrastructure to this region. Lindsay has a leading role to play in securing the future success of the Sydney Basin. Our region is one of the fastest growing in Australia and key to unlocking the two-speed economy that hinders our national prosperity. I will ensure the people of Lindsay will have their seat at the table and a voice in this place. The time has come for us in our unique and diverse part of the Cumberland Plain to stand up and embrace the destiny so many great men and women have long foreseen. In realising the economic and social potential of this region, we must believe in ourselves and plan for a sustainable future. Lindsay is the sturdy horse, waiting to be harnessed, ready to pull the wagon. Madam Speaker, I come to this place a proud member of the Liberal Party of Australia and in its traditions. As a Conservative, we should look to our past to better shape our future. Yet as Liberals, we should fight to preserve freedom, freedom of opportunity, freedom of speech, freedom of choice, freedom of religion, freedom without fear or favour. This and the empowerment of the individual is a consistent feature throughout the Liberal Party platform. I believe this also captures the spirit of the Lindsay community, which I am proud to represent. That is, in the innate worth of the individual, in the right to be independent, to own property and to achieve, and in the need to encourage initiative and personal responsibility. Lindsay does represent the true face of liberalism, where individuals are given freedom. We embrace and respect the rights of others, knowing they too will be afforded to us in return. In the words of the Prime Minister, I too am determined to contribute to a party that delivers hope for the future, reward for hard work and an opportunity for all. We must embrace the spirit of what it means to be a proud Australian. Our story, the Australian story, is one of determination and resilience, often against the odds. It should inspire us and uplift us, and it should challenge us to reach for new heights. We endure, challenged by our volatile environment, tested by war, and enriched by the many fusion of many diverse cultures. The character of Lindsay is unique to Australia, as it provides a direct link to our heritage and a gateway to our nation's future. Madam Speaker, I stand here today as a product of my family, the heritage of my ancestors, my tutors, my teachers, my mentors, but also the community which has raised me. My journey could not have been possible without the love and support of my father John, my mother Robin, and her partner Scott, my brothers Stephen and Glenn, and their wives Alyssa and Joe, my nieces and nephew Brianna, Zachary, Ella and Phoebe. I would also like to thank the Prime Minister and the 3 generations of his family for their unrelenting support, inspiration and leadership. To my good friend Senator Payne, thank you seems hardly enough for your passion, wisdom and advice. To my state parliamentary colleagues, Stuart Ayres, Bart Bassett and Tanya Davies, thank you for your assistance. To Councillor Ross Fowler, OAM, the Mayor of Penrith, I thank you for your encouragement and support, something you have always shown me. I would also like to thank my amazing team of volunteers led by Brian and Glenda Cartwright, supported by Josh Ballard. Together, we door-knocked over 30,000 houses. I thank you for your patience, understanding and commitment. Thank you to the New South Wales Division of the Liberal Party for your support, in particular the Lindsay Conference. To Dean Carlson and the Young Liberal Flying Squad, thank you for your energy and enthusiasm. To my friends who gave up their warm beds to volunteer at train stations, often on very, very cold mornings, your support will be forever valued. To the people of Lindsay, my pledge to you is that I will represent you to the best of my ability. I'll be a strong voice on issues that affect our lives, our families, our region, and most importantly, our future. My door is always open to you. Together, we will work through our challenges and opportunities. I will endeavour to reignite your belief and confidence in our parliamentary system and your representatives. We in this place should always remember that this is the People's Parliament. We do not sit on top of the hill, but within it. We must all remember we stand here in this place as common people, common ourselves, holding our nation's common hopes, common future and our common struggles, commissioned to build a common wealth for all Australians. In the immortal words of Sir Henry Parkes of Warrington, we are one people, one destiny.
The question is that the address be agreed to, and before I call the honourable member for Kingsford Smith, who is to make his